Today we're going to be making lemon chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare our garlic, ginger and lemon. So I'm going to be using my garlic crusher to crush it. So I've just peeled the garlic and going to throw the whole clove into the garlic crusher and just crush it. And then we're going to pop that aside. If you have garlic, like crushed garlic or garlic in a jar, you can actually just use a teaspoon of that garlic as a replacement or for the whole clove of garlic. So the next thing I've got is a little piece of ginger here. This is sort of around 3 centimetre long piece, like a little knob of ginger. You don't want too much ginger because it does give a lot of flavour. And I actually, sometimes you can get a peeler and just roughly peel the skin of the ginger. Or you can just use a knife as I am doing, just to get that outside roughage off. So we're going to get a nice fine grater. We're just going to grate that ginger nicely. You can see that it comes out the other end nice and finely grated. So that's my ginger. Pop that in the little jar as well. So if you're going to grate the lemon, as we are, grate the lemon right, make sure you wash it really well. And we want to get our lemon zest. When we say lemon zest, we mean the lovely flavoursome part of the peel. So to zest a lemon, we're going to use the same grater, and we're just going to carefully grate the skin of the lemon. You just want the yellow skin, is what we want. That's the zest. So we want to get that lovely lemon flavour. There we go. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to prepare our chicken. I'm going to plot my chopping board at this point. All right, so with my chicken, the recipe asks for 400 grams of chicken. And what we want to do is we want to cut up our chicken into pieces. So you could buy the pre-cut chicken in this dish, but I don't want to have it too small though either. So I'm going to just slice my chicken. If you've got the chicken breast, it's always good to slice crossways to the grain of the chicken, and that creates more of a tender piece. And then that's kind of a pretty big piece, so I'm going to cut that in half again. So it's kind of like a mouth, almost like a nugget-sized piece, I think, of chicken. So you kind of want to have them all around the same size. So I'm just going to keep cutting through this chicken. I usually would recommend that if you're preparing raw meat, particularly cutting the meat, that's very much a grown-up job to do. So I would advise that the parents and carers do the chopping up of the meat. 2 reasons: you do need a sharp knife to chop through meat, so the children's knives won't do that. And the second reason is, particularly raw chicken, it's a very it's quite a food safety hazard. So unless it's cooked, it's okay. If they end up in their fingers, it can create a risk of salmonella poisoning as well. So we want to try and keep that chicken, raw chicken, separated to a bowl. So the bowl here, and then in goes those flavours that we've just pre-prepared. So the garlic and the lemon rind and the ginger. This is where your little helping hand is going to come in useful. So let's measure out 2 tablespoons of flour, plain flour. And then we're going to just gently toss that through. So that's our chicken ready to go. Now I'm going to wash my hand. Okay, so I've finished preparing the chicken. I'm going to get rid of that chopping board, so that's okay. And then I'm going to get my vegetable chopping board ready to go. And we're going to prepare our vegetables. So with our veggies, today we've got zucchini and some broccoli. Again, this is where the children can help out in this job. So you can get these children's knives. So this is one that isn't going to cut me when I run my fingers over it. And it can be really good for some of the softer vegetables that, particularly like zucchini, to cut, and you'll actually notice that it cuts pretty well. So you can get your child to cut the zucchini with a knife like this, and it will work pretty well. And always a good idea to get them to try and learn to cut evenly. So it takes practice. It's never going to work out how you probably want it straight away, but give them a chance. And it doesn't really matter if it's not perfect either, because however you cut it, it's still going to work in this dish. As long as you're not putting like the whole zucchini, that will get a bit weird. So we're going to cut it, and as the children cut, another practice to do is to try not to put their fingers out like this, but to hold them in like a claw, so that they're not going to cut the ends of their fingers if they were using a really sharp knife. Alright, so there we go, and then we just keep the knobby end at the, here we throw that in the compost. Okie doke, so there's our zucchini ready to go, and then we've got some broccoli. A great activity for kids to get involved in here is it's just break all the little carrots apart like this. That's quite fun. It's like pulling branches off a tree. So what we can do with our broccoli stalk is the skin on the outside is actually quite tough. So I usually get a peeler and just peel the outside of that stalk just to get rid of that tough skin. We want to chop that into small pieces. So I usually go cut it in half first, and then half it down nice and flat and stable, and then we're just going to cut through that little pieces. Okay, so all of our veggies are now prepared. Let's get cooking. So I've got my electric frying pan. Warm that up, and then I've got my good old extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons. So I've got it on a medium high heat. I'm just going to toss that chicken around in the oil so that we can get that nice and browned on the outside, a little bit brown. If you're finding that the bits of like ginger and you know, flour and so on stay stick to the bottom, you may need to pop a little bit more oil in there. And right, so now that that's all browned, it's sealed all the edges in the chicken. It's keeping the moisture inside the chicken as well. Next thing we want to do is we want to bring in the chicken stock. So the chicken stock's going to lift a lot of the bits that might have sort of stuck to the bottom of the pan as well. So in that goes. We're just going to start by putting a little bit in to begin with, and then just stir that, and you'll see that it actually helps to lift some of the flour and ginger and garlic that might have stuck to the bottom. I'm just going to want to gradually pour it in so that it heats up more quickly. And as you add in the chicken stock, that's when we can start to add the vegetables as well. So I'm going to be putting in my broccoli and my zucchini. All of it goes in there. Add some more chicken stock now and just stir it. So, you know, your helping hand can be adding the chopped up vegetables whilst maybe you're doing the chicken stock. Alright. Okay. So there we go. I've got all the stock in there now, and I've got all of my vegetables in as well. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to let that simmer. So it's going to simmer, it's going to cook the vegetables, it's going to help to cook the rest of the chicken all the way through as well. And when it's a simmer, just a gentle bubble, not a crazy bubble. You don't want to be burning the bottom of it. All right, so we're going to get the one lemon, cut that lemon in half. The lemon that you took the rind off, we're going to be using. We're going to use all of it. Just squeeze the whole lemon in the juicer. We've got our lemon juice here, and then we're going to cut the sourness of the lemon with a bit of honey. So a little bit of sweetness now in our lemon. So 2 teaspoons of honey goes in there. We're going to mix that up with a bit of corn flour. Tablespoon of corn flour goes in there as well. pop it in, and when we mix it with the corn flour, you're going to mix it fairly quickly so it doesn't, or whisking even, so that it doesn't form lumps. Okay, so back over to our lemon chicken. My vegetables have been cooking beautifully, and they're still lovely and vibrant. And now we can pour in our mixture of lemon and corn flour and honey. And at this point, it's really important that we keep stirring. Keep stirring, because you'll notice right in front of your very eyes that the mixture is thickening and it's becoming a beautiful sauce. So I'm going to serve mine up on a plate. And when you're serving up to the children, you know, they can identify those things. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not about hiding the vegetables. We want them to embrace the vegetable and try the vegetable and talk about how they taste and how they feel in their mouth as well. And what's great about the lemon chicken is that it provides a different flavour to the vegetable, that lovely lemony flavour, a bit of ginger and garlic as well. So it might taste different to, say, the broccoli or zucchini they might have had in a different dish on another day. So, you know, if they're not ready for those vegetables, they might at least eat the chicken and they just push the veggies aside. But at least they've been exposed to them. And, you know, that's an opportunity for you to be a great role model and go, well, I'll eat the veggies instead and enjoy those veggies. Other veggies that you can put in this dish, whatever you've got on hand. When beans are in season, beans go really well. I've also got some silver beets here. So quite often I might chop up some silver beet or go out to the garden and pick some spinach, chop that up and put it in there. Capsicum, you could try capsicum. That could work, absolutely, or green capsicum. Carrot might be a bit trickier because it takes longer to cook. So you just have to be mindful of that. So maybe cut the carrot into like little skinny strips, and that will cook quicker. So whatever vegetables are in season, they're all going to take on that lovely lemony flavour. And experiment with different veggies with what the children want to choose, and that could be associated with some vegetables you might have read about in a book, or what you might be growing in the garden, or what you bought from the shop that day, or, you know, this week. So yeah, don't be afraid to change it around a little bit. And if you're not using chicken, you could use firm fish, which would go quite nicely with this, or you could use tofu as an alternative as well. But it goes really well with the rice, so it's something that's going to help pick up the flavour. And what I love with this when we serve it with the rice is the sauce is delicious with the rice. And, you know, even, you know, if children start to, they'll like the flavour because we've got the sweetness of the honey in it. Again, it gives children that autonomy to sort of decide which part of this meal they feel comfortable to eat or what they want to eat first. And often when we serve something with rice, the rice is what we call the safe food or the bridging food, and they'll be more likely to at least eat the rice and then try the rice with something, bring in a little bit of flavour, add some meat or vegetables and that delicious sauce. So the other great thing about this dish is it does freeze well. So we love to come up with recipes that, you know, you can cook on the weekend in bulk or make up a big amount, and whatever you've got left over, pop it in the freezer, and then you can reheat it the next, you know, week or whatever when you want to take a, you know, have a quick evening meal, or if you've got some leftovers to take to work or whatever. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing you